Welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Naturally Ashley, your host, here to guide you down the rabbit hole into the world of psychoactive plants, frogs, and fungi. Good morning, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Integration Station. This is episode 32, Vivid Mind Journaling with Brice. Brice is a software engineer and entrepreneur specializing in mental health technology. This is really cool because in today's episode we're diving deep into an app that he created all around journaling to make things even more accessible for us. He's one of the creators of Vivid. This is an app created for psychedelic-assisted therapy, and it's designed to increase access and effectiveness of mental health treatments. So we left everything below for you to connect with Brice on your own, but without further ado, let's bring on the show and I'll introduce him to you.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good morning, you beautiful souls, and welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Naturally Ashley, your host, here with Brice from the Vivid app. And I was inspired to have him on today because he puts a really big emphasis on integration, which is, why we're here on the Integration Station, tuning in like this. But one of his greatest tools is journaling, which we haven't really gotten into a lot. We mention it, journaling as an integration tool. Oh, you should be journaling. But I think we're going to learn a lot more by having Brice on, and I'm going to be picking his mind about this. I'm really excited to hear his story, his journey, everything. So without further ado, I'm just going to pass over to Brice, and he can share with us, what led him here,
Yes, hi Ashley. So hopefully you're doing well. Hi everyone. So I can basically one good thing is that right now we're working on this app which is called the Vivid app, and just in general, I think I've been working in the psychedelics for about 3 years now. And the thing is that we realized that there was kind of like a gap in the way people were actually using psychedelics, especially after the exploration time, right? So when they go into ceremonies, or also like if they go into like simply clinical treatment. So that's the reason why we decided to work on a new project that started a few months ago, and where we actually really help people kind of like guide people once they do that exploration phase.
That's wonderful. And what about your own journey? How did you find psychedelics?
So interestingly, on my side, I used to work for a psychedelic company. So I was working on the engineering side of a psychedelic company, and we're really working on the clinical treatment, right? So we're using ketamine, and the goal for us was really to work on depression and anxiety. So we had different clinics in North America where people can come get their treatment. After that, we really kind of like help them with their journey, improving and all of that. So the thing is, as basically I was working for that company, that was kind of like a first introduction to psychedelics.
You didn't know about it at all before that?
I knew about it a little bit for sure. But the thing is, I find that in terms of treatment, I've learned a lot in terms of how we can use it, especially working with a lot of people like clinicians, and also they just knew so many things about it that I was able to really kind of like build my knowledge around it as well, right? And I've kind of like great feedback and support from people about it. Yeah,
that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So how would somebody get into a position like that?
You mean in a physician for on the clinic side, you mean?
Yeah.
So the thing is, me on my end, I'm really working on I was working in the software engineering team. So, and in the software engineering team, what we were trying to build was really a platform to support all of the clinical operations that we had at the company. So the goal was just to make sure that, once we have a patient, we're actually able to guide that patient and also really provide all of the tools that are required for therapists to be accessible for the client during the treatment, right? So that's exactly what we're working on at the company. We also had an app that was helping, really providing content for the treatments as well. So often we're gonna have good music, things like meditation, where people can actually really prepare for different phases of their journey, and also meditation that can also help them integrate. And
Yeah. That's wonderful. I love that, that's becoming such a talked about thing, this integration work, because there's, the preparation came in the form of set and setting back in like 60s and 70s. And yeah, preparation is important, but what about everything afterwards? We can really make a difference in our own lives to be able to hold on to these messages and to really be doing that work. And you're offering here support in that arena. And I'd love to hear more about what that looks like, or, where you find the most value for yourself on your own journey.
Yeah, so I would say on the first part, actually something interesting right now, I'm in Mexico. So in Mexico, I would say there is a lot of different, I would say, treatment that people are using here. And the thing is that often when it's offered, that part about integrating is not really there, right? The problem with that is that many people come back often to the treatment, right? So, but the thing to understand is that it doesn't necessarily work like any other general medicine, right? Where basically they can tell you to come back, or you have to use it on a regular basis, something like that. So often people experience really life-changing experiences, right? And the thing is that once you experience that, after it's kind of like messages that you got, right, from that are coming from you, right? So maybe sometimes it can be just for life advices and whatever, like, I would say wherever people are in their journey. But the thing, I think that what's really important with that is that after, even once you go through that exploration phase, after, you also need to know that insights can still come up, right? And the thing that is important with the journaling is that it makes you ask yourself the right questions, take the time to actually really reflect on what happened and see how it can impact your life. So in my case, I would say the tool that I've been using was really helpful, because the goal was sometimes, I think that it was really tough sometimes to journal, right? So often you just don't really know what to journal about. It's also hard, I would say quite difficult to start, right? So if I ask someone, just start journaling, well, they don't know what to write about, right? So that's why basically on the app that we have, we're actually prompting people questions on a regular basis. People can also go over the different questions. And the app also offers a good way to set their intention. So if you're preparing for a trip, then you can set your intention before. And after that, often based on the intention, the journaling is going to match. So we're going to ask the questions that are kind of like bringing things up to life, right? And that help people really integrate and reflect about that experience.
So can you give me an example how you've been setting this intention in your own life or even on the app? How is it set up?
Okay, yeah, that's good. So on the app, in the previous versions, actually, we're simply asking people to set their intention. And after having, few feedback from people and all, we realized that people needed to have some guidance on that. So what we do is that on the app, there is few categories that people can pick on. So let's say if you want to log one of your trip and record one of your trip, basically. There's going to have few questions. Let me just open the app right now so I have them in front of me. It's going to be even easier. Okay, so yeah, we split up into like few categories for intention. So let's say if someone is working onto healing, transformation, we also have creativity, inspiration, education, connection, community. And the thing is that depending on like where you feel that you're on your journey, that's kind of like a first step towards setting up your intention. So on the app, we just ask you to pick one of those. Once you pick one of those, we suggest some intentions, right? With a description around it. So at least you know what's kind of like the idea of the intention. And once you select it, after that, your intention is set, but you can still edit it, right? Because our goal is to guide people into a way to write an intention and to set their intention. But at the same time, we don't want to like force it a certain way, right? So that's pretty much how it is, how it works on the app. Once everything is set up, your intention is, you pick your intention, you edit it as you want to, then you can start recording information about your trip.
Okay, and is it all privacy oriented and things like that? Because I know, I have some clients who even writing in a journal in general will say, I don't want to do this in case my kid finds it or my spouse or anything. So in a cell phone, when there's the cloud and other people's databases, how are you guys handling that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a question that many people ask as well. How we're handling that first, what is great is that for all, at least for all Apple users, pretty much we actually enforce the identity tool to log in, right? So simply because Apple is really good on privacy, right? So they don't want people to they don't want to share any information about people. And for us, it's also something really good because we don't want to have people's personal information. So that's why basically all of that is managed on Apple for Apple users. Now, if people are on Android, the only thing that they need basically to log in is simply their Google account. Or we're also like gonna offer different ways for people to sign into the app and use it. But the thing that is really important is that for us, we don't actually know things that people are writing. We cannot even access it. We don't have access to most of that. And what we want to do in the next version, though, especially to enforce privacy, we also want to remove that aspect of being able to log into the app. So people can simply use the app without having to go through the login process. So at least we want to make sure that people feel secure that we actually don't know anything about themselves. On the other end, we're also really working on new features to block the journal. So really use everything we can on the phones. So right now, phones have things like fingerprints, right, that we can integrate into apps or all of that. So we also want even to block that as well inside the app. So even if you're using it, well, we want to make sure that the person can have access to it. So especially since, it's a journal, we don't want people to see everything.
And how are you doing this in your own life? Like, was this an idea you came up with, or like from direct experience? How did this all come up?
Yeah, so basically, someone I know, since I was working for a psychedelic company, someone I know actually came to me, and since I'm working in the engineering space and all, he came to me with this idea. And first of all, I think it was quite helpful because as I was going through my journey, I was able to really use, build something that I wanted to use myself, right? Something that was really helpful for myself. And yeah, so after that, we decided to start working on it and really kind of like improve the project from there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now they've got their intentions, and what are the next steps? What comes after intentions?
Yeah, that's good. So once your intention is set, often I would say when users are using it, they're using it before starting their experience, right? So before starting a trip. So what they're going to do is that they're going to go through that process. They're going to set their intention. Now the intention is set. After that, what the app asks you is simply to, you can write basically anything that is crossing your mind. What we want is actually users to use the app after their trip, right? So after the trip, this is when it's actually, I would say most of the thoughts are coming right into to mind, right? And that's kind of like the best way, the most efficient way to use those kind of apps, where you can just sit down with yourself and just write anything you have in mind, anything that happened in your trip, anything you want to keep for later, all of that, right? You can just like write it down after. We don't really encourage people to use it during the trip because sometimes it might be difficult. Simply just to interact. I would say some people do it, but I don't fully recommend it. I really recommend using it after, and then you can put all of your thoughts, have everything written, and then keep track of everything that happened during that trip. And now your trip is logged, and at the end, overall on the app, you have the list of all of your trips that you have done in the past.
Yeah. I like that it logs it all like that. I had a gratitude journal app that I used in that way, and I could download it as a save folder for later.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What's you can download it, right?
Yeah. So then it saves as like a, not spreadsheet, but like some sort of a Word note document.
Mm-hmm. I see. Interesting.
Yeah, it's nice for tracking and also for just, to reflect on as an integration practice in itself.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. So what have you noticed as feedback around these qualities of the app? Before we take a break, can you just share with us, what feedback have you gotten about these parts, or what feedback do you have yourself having experienced this in your own journey?
So you mean feedback from the app, or?
Yeah.
Or
the practice in general of setting intentions and also tracking your trips, documenting after the experience.
Yeah. So in terms of feedback, I would say I've been facilitator for a couple of trips, and of course, we see that when people are coming out of the experience, then what they do often is that they were jumping on sometimes like a piece of paper or like a notepad or something they have on their phone to just like simply record stuff that they want to keep in mind, right? So that's something that happened often. So that's why I would say for that the feedback was good. some of the feedback were really towards the fact that it's tough to use an app if you're on psychedelics. That's the reason why we suggest people to use it really after, because it's really kind of like put everything you have in mind, but like right after the trip, because it's super tough to interact during the trip. And other than that, for intention setting, we had super great feedback, because we find that many people were lost actually when it was time to setting an intention. They just don't know what to write about, and often people don't really tell them unless they work really, let's say, in a clinic. Then the clinician might be able to help them. But if you're by yourself, or if then you do the treatment a different way than like outside of a clinic, then it might be really more difficult. So that's why we got really, really great feedback for that. And we're also working on always giving better intentions for people. So make sure that people can also relate to those intentions, right, as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that. And I really do encourage intention setting before, working with any psychoactive plant, frog, or fungi. But, there comes this point when we're with the psychedelics where you still have to surrender. It can't be this attachment to the intention, but it's still so important to have it because it helps you be present. Like, this is the work that needs to be done. And then, the medicine's going to have, its own way of showing you what that means or what is to come next. So, this 3-step process, I think, is very valuable, especially to somebody who's new to these realms, but also for anybody who is experienced, because, this integration work wasn't always taught, and not everybody was always doing it. It makes a huge difference, though, and I'm grateful to have you on, Brice, and to be sharing this work that you're doing here. I'm just going to cut to a quick break here, let our sponsors share the wonderful work that they're doing as well, and we'll have you right back on and to share some more of these integration tools and other advice for people who are just emerging into this realm of integration. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Are you watching television on Roku, Fire, maybe an Apple TV or even Chromecast? If you are, then download the Boxcast app and search for CBGTV.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have 2 lines of drinks. One's called our Nature's Nectar, That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Ready brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hello and welcome back to the Integration Station. I'm here with Brice from Vivid App, and we're going to dive more into integration, what this means, and some actionable steps to really break it down so you're able to do the work, because medicines are great at showing you what work is yours to do. You know, that's what the ceremony, the experience is there for. But it's still up to you to do that work. And so often for myself, and Brice and I were just talking about this behind the scenes while we were on break too. And that's so often people are like, yeah, we're doing the integration work. But what they're actually doing is booking their next medicine ceremony because they've got something else that they want to ask, or they have something else that they want to figure out, or they still feel that there's more. But the more actually comes in when we're able to alchemize it. And for me, that's a lot of what I see integration as, is this alchemy where we're bringing all the pieces together. And Brice has so many pieces that he brought together in this creation of this app, including of what, again, we were talking about there behind the scenes was, you know, the clinical and the ceremonial way of using the medicine. So I'm just going to pass over now so we can dive deeper into these subjects with Brice from Vivid App.
Yeah, that's good. So, I can talk to you a bit more about just how it is, because I find that integration as well, it's something that is maybe not known. And on my end, I've been, as I said, right now I'm in Mexico, so I've been to many ceremonies. And the thing is that, like, you see, sometimes shamans and all are coming from really far, right? So it's really kind of like great ceremonies, great shamans. And often what I find sad is just seeing people going back all the time to those ceremonies without having any improvement, right? Because the thing is that it's a medicine. You should feel better after, right? And without that integration part, then you just have an experience, right? So that's why some people always go back. Maybe they think that it's going to work, but there is still some work to do, right? And as many medicine, it's not necessarily fun, I would say, right? So it's tough.
Well, sometimes I think there's like that reward or that feeling like they did the work because in the experience they were doing the work. But it's like, it's all about carrying that onward throughout life, right? You know, making life ceremony. It makes it more fun, more enjoyable. Those insights continue to come regardless whether or not you're working with the medicine, because they're already there. You've already experienced it. You've been open. If you can stay open, like this old proverb of God will break your heart open over and over and over again so that you keep it open. You know, the heartbreak's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Life, that present moment, that's happening for you too. That's why they call it a present. But you know, when you're like, oh, I've experienced the work, I've experienced improvement while you're in, you know, a 6-hour experience, or that's great, but you don't keep going back to that. It's about making this life.
Exactly. And me, I think personally that for every trip people do, they should at least have one action that they're gonna bring into their daily life, right? And let's say for some people that action might be simply journaling, but some other people might be just meditation, change diet. Anything can happen, but so that's why I think the reflection part is important, just to like sit down, look at like everything that like happened during your trip, then really reflect on it. And once you have that, then you're able to figure out those actions. Sometimes, to me, for instance, it comes up during the trip. So after most of the trips, at least I always come back with one action that is going to be impactful for my life, right? So.
I love that too, like keeping it simple with just one. And maybe that's something I can carry into my own practice too, because we do something similar with my own clients who come to me for integration work is this Trinity text. In the beginning, of course, I get them to send it to me because I can help, hold them accountable, but also, make the most out of the practice in the beginning. But afterwards, oftentimes I'm just encouraging them to keep it up in a journaling practice. And what it is just this 3-step thing. What are all the things that you're scared of or that feel bad? What are those automatic negative thoughts? Get them out of you like an emotional colonic. The second step is what the things that you're grateful for, the successes you've had, the breaks you've had, to build yourself up, fill that space with positivity, encouragement, confidence. And then the third is action steps. So you have what you need, that willpower to actually see through the step. And oftentimes I'm asking for 1 to 3 action steps that are in alignment to that goal, so that my clients, including myself, this practice I do too, is that alignment between what I'm saying and what I'm doing. Because where that dark night happens, those shitty feelings, that happens when it's out of alignment, right? So saying your action step, giving it a purpose, writing it out, that gives accountability to make it help you stay in alignment and see it through.
Yeah, exactly. Because no, it's only that. And me, I always suggest at least one action, and it's something that also, I'm doing a lot of exercise outside, right, of my, like, just in my day to day. And the thing is that some people sometimes ask me, what can I do to improve myself, right? With fitness or something. I'm just, the thing is that it's a journey as well. So it's going to take time. But the thing is just to take steps towards the right direction, right? So it's the same thing with that, where I tell people one action is better than no action, because at least you're going towards the right direction. And the thing is that it's tough if there is too many actions. If, let's say, I say, all right, someone wants if I'm going back to like that fitness thing, someone wants to lose weight, then that person says, all right, now you have to work out 5 days a week. You have to change your diet. You cannot do everything at once, right? It's going to be extremely tough. And your body is probably going to hate you for that, right? So that's why, same principle, just like go step by step towards the right direction, and it makes it super easier, right, to integrate.
Yeah, it's like that atomic habits where you're habit stacking. If you can, or even crowding out term that we learned in nutrition school, where you're like, take the healthy food, all those superfoods, and you crowd out the junk food. That can work if you're also committed to eliminating the other stuff. Otherwise, you're going to bloat up, and that's not going to be good either. But it can be a practice that really does work. I'm curious, I guess, what are some of the journaling prompts that you guys offer? What are some of the things that have helped you stay consistent to making journaling part of your habits, or like how the Atomic Habits was, you're stacking it on with a routine?
So I would say like few stuff that I have the app in front of me, so it might be just a question like, did your latest experience change your perception of time, right? Something like that. And we just suggest different ones. So like, it's kind of like a swipe. You can swipe and you have another question if you want to answer it instead. Another one was, how was your overall mood been since your last experience? In what ways has your perception of reality changed since your last experience? How was your latest experience impacted your spirituality or beliefs about the universe? And in what ways has your latest experience deepened your sense of purpose in life? So, we always suggest those type of questions, which are a bit general, but sometimes it really kind of like, it helps people at least just, if you start answering a question, often with journaling, what is great is that then you just start writing, right? You just like start one sentence and then it just goes. You start writing. So that's why it's kind of like this initial point where we just give you something to think about. And based on that, then you can just like write. And eventually the insights are all really coming up in life.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things too, I find with the journaling practice, is that there comes like a sense of channeling our higher selves. And this was said in like The Secret, The Laws of Attraction. It's, Carl Jung in his Red Book, Napoleon Hill and just about everything he's ever written.
Yeah.
So this practice, it really goes deep. It becomes something more than just like a physical expression, but also a way to channel energies, parts of yourselves, get clarity. This is the real work. And it is part of that alchemy. There's this quote by Yogi Bhajan that I keep so close. And if you're familiar with, this show, I'm sure you've heard it a million times, but I don't know if Brice has, so do it again. But that's if you want to learn about something, you read it. If you want to understand something, you write about it. And if you want to master something, you teach it. And so this is that understanding. This journaling practice, that is the alchemy. That is like, the circle.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
So what else, comes up for you around this practice? Because I know you've used journaling in the clinical space, but also in the spiritual ceremonial space. Is there a difference between how to use it? Is there a difference in the people? Is there a difference in any of it? And what's the same? Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so what I would say in clinical treatment, some of the things are really different. So first of all, I would say the setting is totally different, because in clinic, you're in a clinic, and in a ceremonial, you're probably mostly in the jungle or mostly in nature, right? So that is kind of like one of the basic things. But if I'm going a bit deeper into that, once we do clinical, what's interesting about the clinical is that you work with someone. So first of all, just to be part of a program, to actually take those medicine, you need to be approved by a doctor. So you need to be either have depression, anxiety. You have to be diagnosed for that. And after that, then you can go with a therapist that is going to really kind of like help you during the entire treatment. So first of all, the therapist is going to really kind of like talk with you, right? Spend time with you, trying to understand where you are, what are your needs, what you want to work on, what's kind of like what's happening. And at the same time, the therapist is also going to see if the connection is matching, right? Because once you go through that treatment, it's great to be with someone that you feel good with. So, for instance, where I used to work, what they were doing all the time is they were having those conversations with clients. And sometimes if it's not a good fit, then someone else, we can just simply try with someone else, right? That can be more helpful, or that people feel more comfortable with. So after that, once they go into that phase, then they can really kind of like going into using the medicine, where it's going to be assisted. So you're going to be sitting down, or maybe like laying down, depending on the clinic or how you feel comfortable. But the goal is that they're going to help you and guide you into with the medicine. They're going to like help you with meditation before. Also preparation as well, and they're gonna tell you everything about that. And after that, once you do your trip, then they're gonna really help you into that integration, where they're gonna talk with you and make sure that like you're actually recovering from that. So I think that the process is really good, right? It's long, but what I would say is that it's also really expensive, right? Because someone is basically with you the entire time, right? So that's really expensive. If I'm looking at the ceremonial way, right? What is interesting with that is that it's really accessible, right? So anyone can simply go on a retreat. You book your spot, you go in the retreat, you pay the price, and after that you got the medicine. But you see, if I compare both, basically the people that are going to give you the medicine weren't with you before, right? So sometimes it's, they basically just provide you that experience. All of the work before, you have to do it yourself. Some places are better than others, where they might maybe send you some guide or things like that you can do before going into the ceremony. And some can also tell you what to do after a little bit. But the thing is that their main focus is the ceremony. Make sure that you feel good, that you have a good set and setting, that the music is good, that they are there if you need assistance and all of that. But the rest, it's really on you.
It depends the place, but yeah, I get what you're saying, because that is available too. I do find that things are changing though, some of the retreats that I'm involved with as well, they're they really are putting a value on that integration work too, and being able to provide, an intensive I guess intake and help with that preparation. I myself provide a dieta, and I know I'm not the only one. So,
I would say quickly, it really, that's the thing. It depends really on the retreat. Because basically many people can be a facilitator. So that's why at the same time, it's like anything. There is some good, some bads. Some people that are also learning in the industry. So it's not that they are necessarily they have bad intention or something like that, but people have different experiences. Retreats as well, right? Some retreats have been going for longer, so they are more experienced into the entire medicine. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the new ones that are opening up, now that there's schools and stuff open, they know that this is something that people are looking for, so they have to provide it in one way or another. That doesn't mean that's their expertise, because there's many people in our network too that are just no, we have, somebody for preparation, I do the ceremony, and then there's somebody for integration. So, this is part of that preparation phase in general, is to seek out what it is what your needs are, and what it is that you want to get out of it, and then find that facilitator or that retreat or that clinical professional that or center or however it is that really resonates the most, because it's not about anybody else in that moment. It's about you and getting those needs and desires met. It's honestly your life, and it's going to be your experience, and it's going to be, you'll get the most out of it when it's in alignment to you.
Exactly.
And there's so many options available today.
Yeah, exactly. So something to also be careful with. There is many options. So often it's great to go with referrals from people that personally that went to it or something like that. So that's super helpful. But the thing that is a bit really difficult, I would say, with ceremonial ways, that there is no regulations about it. So that's why those things can happen. So anyone can start doing the practice. And as I said, it's really not, most of the time what I've seen, it's not with bad intention. But people, they start as well. The goal is really to help people. It's just that, some of them are more advanced than others, right?
Yeah, especially for going to the jungle and things like that, you're really going to get it in a traditional way, and a lot of those shamans are very busy seeing a lot of people, so it really is just sometimes like San Pedro. You know, it's somebody who's giving you the medicine, and then it's somebody else that you see for the healing when the medicine's kicked in, and then it's somebody else to see you through that quick integration. But you're going through all 3 steps in, you know, a 24-hour period, and it can be a lot. So this is one of the reasons too why integration is so important when you get home or when you get back, because, you know, when they're healing traditionally in their traditional setting, a lot of their clients and participants are in nature. You know, they're not going back to the city. You know, there's a lot more stimulation and a lot more to integrate. I know my own mentor, Dr. Dan, he took a year off of everything. It built himself like a little yurt or, you know, cabin in the woods, and made that his home for the integration phase. And I'm myself too, when I was doing heroic doses, getting sober, I took a year off of everything, including making money, including whatever. It was just fitness and staying sober were my only 2 goals. And I only did fitness because I needed like some sort of like a high, which I could get from running or from doing so much yoga that I'm like activating my own DMT.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's cut to break right now, and we'll let our sponsors share some of the great things that they're doing. And we'll have you right back, Brice, and we can dig more into the work you're doing, you know, how everybody can get in touch or get involved, and, you know, some of the other things that you're learning along the way.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in a few.
All right.
Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you think of the number of unique products developed in the fields, kitchens, and labs at Legacy 420, it's hard to think that one stands out above the rest. But tell that to the thousands of people who have tried this amazing breakthrough product.
This is our Sacred Salve. This is actually our extra strength. It comes in 5 different strengths. It's all natural, all organic. It typically works within 10 to 15 minutes of putting it on. It's good for arthritis, it's good for inflammation, any kind of pain. We're very proud of it.
Sacred Salve, so easy to apply, along with soothing relief. To select a strength that's right for you, come in and talk to your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. You're listening to the PACE Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back to the Integration Station. I'm Naturally Ashley, your host, here with Brice from Vivid App. And, I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. I feel like it's a common thing to be like, how do you pick just like one action step? There are so many different integration tools out there. So I want to dive in a little bit deeper into what those actionable steps may be, what integration tools are available while we have Brice here. So I'll pass over to him and we'll see what he has to say.
Yeah, thank you. So, I can talk a little bit about mostly my own experience, right? So, because, I know it's great to say, all right, let's take one action step, but at the same time, sometimes it's not super helpful. So I guess with an example, it's always a bit better. In my experience, really what happened, I'm trying to remember the first experience I had, but the first action I took, but I don't think it's the first one that I took. But one day, basically, I was, I did my exploration time, I did my trip. And during my trip, I wanted to, I felt that I was a bit disconnected from other people, right, in general. So I would say, sometimes you kind of like feel distant from others. It's like you talk with people, but you're not fully there, right? So that's a bit how I was feeling. And my goal was to be kind of like more present, right, more with people. And so I set my intention around that. I forgot what was my intention, but I set it up around that idea, right? My goal was to really see how I can connect more with people. And after I went into my trip, and during the trip, I just got this revelation that says clearly it was like just a word coming up directly to me, right? So it wasn't even something visual or something. It was just like it came up right away. And basically it was saying, how can you connect with people if you're disconnected from yourself? So then I realized that I was totally disconnected, when we talk about mind and body, right? And so when that happened, I was, first of all, I was, okay, so, I understood that it was a thing, right? So, because sometimes you hear it, but you don't fully understand that it's a thing. So I started really kind of, I literally just researched about it. I'm just, what is it kind of like being disconnected, right, from yourself? Like I've already heard that, but I don't exactly know what is it. So I started doing some research and all, and I realized that basically what I was doing wrong, or what I was doing most of my life, I would say, was really focusing on my body and not enough on my mind, right? So everything I was doing was more kind of like for my body, but I wasn't really kind of like if you work out for your body, but you don't really work out for your mind as well. So that's why I kind of like felt this connection where I guess my mind wanted to have like, some great stuff as well, right? So that's why after that, I understood why the idea of meditation as well, so that we can really reconnect with meditation. So what I did, actually, the first thing I did was to download the app. So I downloaded an app where basically there is different meditations and all that is really kind of like helping you through meditation. And once I downloaded that app, after that I started putting it just, when I started, actually I was doing it on a daily basis, simply because I was feeling really good after. So simply meditating, going through all of the meditations they have. I wasn't really doing that before. So, the thing is that from what I've heard from people, it was simply, there is no wrong way to do it. The only way is just to do it, right? So, and knowing that, I was, okay, let's just like doing it. And eventually I just felt more relaxed, right? In general, just kind of like in every day I was feeling better, or like just overall, I was simply feeling better on a regular basis. And I started really liking meditation, just taking the time, right, to be with yourself. So that was, for instance, one action that I took that was really, really helpful for myself. Other than that, as I was saying that, I remember one that happened before, and that was, I forgot really what was the intention for that trip, but basically what happened was really with the phone actually, right? So we know that often we spend time on the phone, and then I was able to really feel, after the trip, how much information we can get from a phone and how this can impact our life. Even if we don't really think about it, it's something that can really impact people's life, right? And just how they feel about themselves, especially with social media and things like that. So on my end, yeah, what happened on that, after that, it was simply just kind of like stay a bit away from the phone at the right time, right? So let's say I used to go on social media sometimes when I was waking up. So I wasn't doing that after. And then simply just to leave the phone away. I know that some people, for that, they don't like to have their phone in the room, right? So what they do, they always leave the phone outside. But, those kind of like practices, you see, it's kind of like a small action, leave the phone outside the room. Don't go on your phone in the first hour when you get up. Something like that just came up to me. And after that, my day was just more relaxed as well, right? So I think that, when you wake up, your mind is really in the wake up mood, right? So it doesn't want to be bombarded with informations. And sometimes when you do that, it might be overwhelming, right? So it might affect your entire day. So when you don't do that, I would say most of the time, actually, I was forgetting about my phone. After an hour, I do my things, cleaning, all of that, then you totally forget that your phone exists. And after that, when you are ready, then you can go to your phone. So that was, let's say, an action that I took after. So, yeah.
I like that, learning those time blocks, because, these devices, they're called devices for a reason.
Yeah.
They're the devices of our demise.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's okay to take space from them. I have to remind my son, if the technology turns off, it's because it needs to go to sleep, and so do you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Stay away. Go.
Yeah. And one thing,
else.
one thing interesting actually that changed, I would say, that I want to share, because I think it also made a good impact on my life, was the, I used to go on social media. I was really on Instagram often, just, I wouldn't say I was like crazy about it. Just, once in a while, I was going on Instagram, maybe once, no, I wouldn't say once a day, maybe like 4 or 5 times a day. But I don't really have a lot of interesting things on my social media, right? So eventually I realized that there is something I really like about certain animals, and actually I really like cats in general. So I started like watching some mostly like cat videos, and after that it kind of like removed everything that was really, I would say, annoying for the mind on my phone, basically. So right now it's like if I open my Instagram, the only things I see is kittens and like funny cat videos, and you don't have all of the other things you could see. You just see something really like simple and I would say really chill. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. I've done that a couple times, just like a total cleanse of it all to really keep that focus. And it is an important thing, right? Like, our energy is everything, and we don't want it to be taken from us, because then we have to take responsibility and admit that we're actually the ones giving it away. So to prevent that,
Exactly.
you know, beating yourself up later, you know, do the action steps now to cleanse your space. I like doing it, you know, once a month when it's the full moon or in between the full moon and the new moon, just like cleansing everything. You know, sometimes it's an emotional cleanse, sometimes it's a digital one, sometimes it's physical in my body, sometimes it's a mental, like getting it all out on paper, or like, you know, making a mess or something.
Yeah. Yes, totally.
So are there any other integration tools that come to mind for you that you'd want to share with our listeners today?
I would say I would, yes, really recommend people, like, of course, I would recommend people to try the app, basically Vivid. Like, it has been helpful to me. I know it's helpful for many of the users as well. And the thing with that, I would say, my goal is not necessarily my goal is not to sell an app, right? What, let's say, we provide is a tool. But what's important is for people to find their tool, the tool that is also working for them, right? So this app is a tool that people can use, but let's say if you try it out, it doesn't work with you, then you don't need to use it, right? Exactly, yeah, that's the app. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, so it's a tool. To me, that's why I just find that it's super important for people to work on their integration. Doesn't matter how they do it. If they have a better way to do it, it's totally fine. But what is great, or what we're really trying to do, is just to help people having guidance without being guided sometimes, right? So kind of like, if you feel that you don't know what to do, at least you have an idea of what you can do, right? And from there, after, you can adapt it to your own life. Use it as you want to, but it's great to know that it's there, it exists. So yeah, so that's what I would really recommend for people. Just make sure that you have a way to integrate, and also like just research a little bit about integration. Simply go on Google and like just say how to integrate, something like that. I think is just a good way to start, right? To know what is it, and especially when people say that it's really important, I think it's great to at least understand, right? What is it and how your life can be impacted by that.
Yeah. I'm going to share screen right now because we have like a few minutes left here, and I will bring up, there we go. I'm going to bring up Google, and we'll take a look at what actually shows up, and maybe dive in a little bit there on some of the integration tools that actually show up, because that's always fun. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Psychedelic integration.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Every time you live somewhere new or on somebody else's computer, the Google results actually show up kind of different.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's totally true. So, yeah, you see, I think that those articles, often when I'm looking at things like that, I like to, try maybe 2-3 websites. Also, sometimes it's the way it's written, sometimes it might be more helpful, but just, it's a good understanding, right? And they tell you kind of like how it matches in the therapy. Kind of like just have an idea of what is it, right?
Yeah, and also it helps you to stay accountable and, start figuring out what techniques you can start doing right now. I always like the idea of having an ongoing list of everything you want to do, be, and have in life. Because then you can figure out, okay, what's priority? What am I able to do now? You're able to stay more present in the moment, knowing that there's a parking lot over there for all of your great ideas.
Yeah.
You know, there's of course so much to do, but there's ones that you can do now and where your focus needs to go. And for somebody like myself who can, you know, be like a starburst and go everywhere, having tools like that, you know, these lists make it really helpful, because there's so many tools. Like if I'm that's different, but like, let's see if somebody's got a list of tools here. But yeah, something like this is like, oh yeah, how you were saying before, just one action step. You could write down something to do in your internal, external world, and something to do that's creative, and something you can do that's conscious or conscious expanding or unconscious work. You know, there's going to be a lot of different things that you can do. So on your list of everything you want to do, be, and have in life, you can put in those action steps, but you start with just one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the most important with where you are at now? What is most aligned with that intention you had? What's most aligned with your experience, which is like that guiding force to show you what's yours to do, what is most present for you. And then you just focus on that one thing and know that that list is there for whatever comes next.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why. Integrating an action to a lifestyle, sometimes it's, you know, it takes time. And I mean, most of the time, what I find interesting with psychedelics is that you feel the need to make that action. So then at least you understand it. And after that, just that action can be something small, like as I said, some people simply leaving the phone outside of the bedroom. It's nothing too demanding, right? It's not like if I say run 5 miles or a day, right, or something. It's just put the phone outside, and something like that. It's actually like a change, right, and change in the right direction.
I brought up Dr. Dan because he had a really awesome integration guide.
Mm-hmm.
Full spectrum. I'll see if I can find it, because then you guys can just get to the website and download that, as well as your app there, which I just also did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not even here anymore. Let's see. Maybe. Are we lucky? Yes. Yeah, it's all here. So this is the website, fullspectrummedicine.com, and this is his guide. He's got his human drives for happiness, but this roadmap, I remember when I was attending all of those integration calls that you'll see beside, which you can listen to. I wrote out, like on my wall at the time, a big version, but it wasn't this exact version. It was the actually version. I did it up in the elements. I did it in actionable steps that I could take right then. And I've used this model several times to again stay accountable, but start taking action in these individual steps. The value of having an app is that there's these reminders that you have your phone on you every single day. You know, the average person, let's just Google that real quick. How many times does someone pick up their phone? Something like 110. Oh, we've gotten better.
96. Yeah.
96.
Got better.
Once every 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Unlock our phones 150 times on average.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So
and it's one thing why we decided to also wanted to have an app, because some of the users asked, or some people that basically we talked with, they said, what about a writing journal and things like that? But of course, it would be great writing, but the reality is that people are really on their phone. People have their phone all the time. So the thing
Yeah.
is just to use the phone into the best advantage. And yeah, so that's why we decided to go for it. Like, I know maybe some people might ask, as some people asked us in the past as well.
Yeah, thank you. But I got the app here, so it is you just literally just log your trip,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
date, it has everything. You have your
Mhm.
journal to do your
Yeah.
entries. You could even
Yeah.
use it as a gratitude journal, a great practice. You could use it for
Yeah.
your Trinity text. I might start giving this to clients just because of this.
Yeah, exactly. And some people use it, for different things too. I
Yeah.
would say most of our users are using it with psychedelic therapy, but a good part of our users also using it just for journaling. And sometimes because simply they like it, they like how it looks, how it feels.
Yeah, there's a cute little mushroom on it, and the stem is the V for vivid. So
Yeah.
you can't miss it when you look in the app store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Brice. I'm curious if there's anything else you wanted to share with our listeners before we go today.
I would say for us, it's always great to get feedback. So we really encourage people to use it. What we want to do, we really try to help people in their journey. So anytime if people want to send feedback or tell us things that they would like to have or something on the app, it's always welcome. So we are on Instagram. So if you have vivid.psychedelics, you can find us on Instagram there. Our website is vividmind.io as well. So we also describe about the app. There is a contact form if you want to simply send us an email. Or you can also send us an email at support@vividmind.io at any time. So just there is different ways you can contact us. And yeah, always welcome to get the feedback. So we're really trying to help people in their journey, right? So that's our goal.
Yeah, I can really tell, putting this together is a feat in itself, and I'm really grateful that it's available. It's definitely a resource I'm going to play around with myself and will likely be recommending to future clients, maybe even some that I've got on the go right now that I know would see value, because, there are several apps I just try out randomly, just, for different workouts or accountability or like these things, and I know, some people find one that works for a lifetime, and others are still swapping out, trying to find that one that does work. So I'm really grateful to have you on in order to share what it is that you're working on. I think it's quite simple and beautiful, and yeah.
So it's
I'm
something I
happy
just
that you're
want,
here.
yeah, something I just want to quickly add on that because, like, if people send feedback and all, we actually really look at those feedback. It's really important for us. So that's why sometimes it's you try an app, you don't feel comfortable with it. If you send the feedback, you tell us we're gonna do something about it, right? So our goal is to make people feel good. So that's why feel free to just like send it, and to us, we really like answer all of our emails, and yeah, that's our goal, right? So I just want to say that because sometimes I know with apps, technologies, we don't really know who is behind or something like that. For us, it's us. So just send us an email, a message anytime, and definitely we can make the app works also for you. That's our goal.
Thank you so much, Brice. I just have one last question. It's something I like to ask as many guests as I can, and that's if I was to hand you a dandelion to make a wish for yourself, wish for your app, wish for the world as a whole. What would that wish be?
For now, I wish the first thing that crossed my mind was that psychedelics were more accepted. To me, I would say mushrooms has been something really, really helpful, and I'm really kind of like, yeah, I really find that it's a super great medicine that people would be aware of, that people should be aware of. It's something, of course, related to what I do. So in terms of wish, but that's the first thing that crossed my mind, right? So I just want to say it because, like, every time I'm working with that, I'm just so grateful that it's something natural on Earth, you know, that is really, really helpful for people.
Well, thank you so much. I wish to see that one through myself.
Yeah.
All right, Brice, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to get your bio and all that contact information, so it's all available in the description below. So any of you guys listening, just do a couple little clicks there. You will get hooked up to the app, website, whatever it is that you need to get started. This is going to be a really useful tool, and it's definitely one that I'm exploring, and you'll definitely be hearing about again. So thank you so much for being here. For everybody who showed up, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at Pace